live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. It is Friday, May 19th. We're going in depth tonight on the legacy a Utah service member leaves behind. We're hearing from his friend who served alongside Warrant Officer 1 Stuart Wayman. We'll head out to meteorologist Chase Thomason, who's on the slopes tonight with your forecast. And will Major League Baseball or the National Hockey League move to the Beehive State? Some perspective on the latest rumor mill swirling. But before we dive in, here's a look at what is making headlines tonight. All of these found on our website right now, KUTV.com. A 34-year-old man accused of killing his wife, her parents, and 3 family dogs in Layton this morning. Police say the victims were found inside of a home. Also making headlines today, NFL legend and social activist Jim Brown is dead at the age of 87. The legendary running back passed away Thursday night. He was pretty darn good on the football field, the only player in NFL history to average more than 100 yards rushing per game over the span of his career. Dramatic footage of a rollover crash in Utah County yesterday. Let's watch it together. The driver was transported to the hospital with serious injuries. 2 children were also in the car. We're told they were not hurt, but that is some crazy video coming from one of our viewers who sent it in. And 1 person has died, 2 others hospitalized in a crash that closed both directions of US 6, that is Spanish Fork Canyon, around 2 o'clock today. Keep in mind, this is the second deadly wrong way or head-on crash, I should say, in that area in the last few days. As we go in depth tonight, you can always get in touch with us during the show. Use the hashtag 2NewsLive. You can join the conversation there. Very easy to do. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Be sure to send us a message there to weigh in. Warrant Officer 1 Stuart Wayman was one of 3 soldiers killed after a helicopter collision in Alaska a few weeks ago following a training exercise. That was just part of a memorial service held in Alaska a few weeks ago. Earlier this week, Warrant Officer 1 Stuart Wayman returned home to Utah to be laid to rest. Here is a photo from the Salt Lake Airport before Utah Highway Patrol and Ogden Police escorted Officer Wayman back to the Ogden area. Tomorrow, he will be laid to rest. Here's one of Officer Wayman's friends who spoke to me about his time serving with Stuart in the Utah National Guard, which built their friendship.
What's Stuart like as just your friend?
He's one you can rely on. I mean, he if I ever needed help with something, I knew he was someone I could count on, and I could call him or text him and know that he'll respond and be a good friend and help out. There was a time we were together in Fort Rucker for flight school. And I was looking at buying a new car, but it was, an hour and a half drive south down to Panama City. And, had to go down there a few times, and he drove me down there and back every time. And the deal was I'd buy him his food and he would, drive. So, that's the kind of person he was.
Why do you like to serve our country? What was it about that for him?
Well, I know his dad was in the Air Force, so that was probably instilled in him quite a bit, just seeing his dad as an example. I know he was just very interested and passionate in becoming a gun pilot, flying Apaches and the mission that that involves. And he just he wanted to be a helicopter pilot. I'm sure he's a patriotic dude as well, enjoyed that. That was, probably his first attribute was, being a dad and a husband. He was definitely a family guy, was very proud of, his wife and his kids and just making good memories with them. And that's probably the hardest part about all of this is, his family and the hard things that they're going through at the moment, and just how young his boys are as well.
How did you hear about the accident?
Well, I heard about it just through kind of the grapevine. Word spreads quickly, and I heard about it being up in Alaska, and immediately I thought of Stuart, knowing he was up there, and to be honest, my heart is kind of sunk right now. I texted him right away, and I figured, you know what, I'm not gonna wait for a text response. So I tried calling him right away, and then went straight to voicemail, and that's when my heart really sank. And so I reached out to his wife, Kiara, and unfortunately, she gave me the news. Yes, he was doing what he enjoyed, but in the end, I wish he could be here with his family.
A heavy conversation with Sam, and for Stuart and his family out there, thank you for your service. Let's take a look at the timeline of what happened here. The crash happened Thursday, April 27th. The U.S. Army confirmed that the helicopters were headed to Fort Wainwright from a mission in the Donnelly training area the very next day. The U.S. Army grounded all aviation units for training. That Saturday, Army officials identified the 3 service members, the 3 soldiers who were killed, including Warrant Officer 1 Stuart Wayman. Tomorrow, the Wayman family is holding funeral services, military honors, and a celebration of life in Layton. And right now, a safety investigation from the U.S. Army Combat Readiness Center is leading the safety investigation. You can find our past reports on this crash and the latest with the investigation over at KUTV.com or by downloading the 2 News mobile app. Last night, in a 2 News exclusive investigation, we showed you how Doug Griffith has gotten DUIs over and over again, and how he's been allowed to go from state to state, racking up new charges. Tonight on 2 News at 6, part 2 of this story, we're taking our questions to Utah leaders.
Is the state doing enough to rein in repeat drunk drivers before they kill?
That's a good question. I certainly hope so.
You will hear more from Governor Spencer Cox about repeat drunk drivers and from the Utah County Attorney currently prosecuting Doug Griffith. New video tonight from the Hatch area of the Sevier River flooded. Thanks to the folks in Garfield County for sharing this one with me this afternoon. According to the National Weather Service, there's a flood warning for this area to reach moderate flood stage, which they're probably in right now. And it'll likely stay that way until next week. We're told the campground in the area is flooded. Some access roads are also flooded. Fortunately, no homes impacted, but banks are eroding in that area. The situation could worsen. We will keep an eye on this one for you. Let's turn now to our weather. It's been a snow season for the record books. Resorts all across Utah say this is the most amount of snow they've ever seen. That's not the only thing that's been put out there, though. I mean, many resort leaders have been able to extend the season. It's been the longest season on record for many of these places. Remember, this video is from November. Our meteorologist Chase Thomason taking some turns at Solitude, surrounded by plenty of snow. Now it is the end of the season. Chase is up on the mountain once again. So, Chase, I saw you at 4 o'clock. You made your turns. You made it down in one piece. Now you're taking it easy there in the Adirondack chair. How's it looking at Solitude right now?
I'm getting up there in age, and so I got to rest the good old legs, right? After that season. It's been great. A little slushy, but you know what? Temperature is very mild in the 50s and 60s up here, so that's what happens. It's spring skiing. Before we get to your forecast, Brian, I want to show you what's happening behind me. This is a crystal tree that is being set up here at Solitude. It's actually pretty cool. The Utah Arts Alliance is putting it up right now as we speak. So something that folks are working on. We're going to have a little piece of art for the closing weekend here at Solitude. Really pretty. I mean, everything is just pretty everywhere you look up here at Solitude. You mentioned all-time snow, all-time season, so long. I was here more than 6 months ago, and you can still ski this weekend. Take a look at these totals. Of course, Alto's a big winner with more than 900 inches, more than 800 inches at Brighton, Snowbird, and Solitude. Park City, Deer Valley, Snow Basin, more than 600 inches. I mean, some of these areas, basically 2 snowpacks in just one season. And Sundance, over 500 inches. So if you're thinking about coming up here, it's going to be a big party. Folks bringing their fun sunglasses, which I don't really need right now that we have a nice little cloud. just have fun with it. Temperatures will be in the 60s Saturday and Sunday. Now, there might be a stray thunderstorm in the mountains on Sunday, but I think you're going to be okay. You probably noticed a little bit of smoke in northern Utah. There's some big fires way up in Canada because our winds are out of the north. Light, it's been taking some time. We have some of that light smoke in northern and maybe even central Utah over the weekend. We do think, though, by Monday and Tuesday sometime, our winds will change direction and hopefully we can clear out some of this haze. Right now, the setup is for this ridge of high pressure that's just to our west to move into northern Utah, bringing in that drier air. Storm to our south is still pumping up a little bit of that moisture. So we have storm chances this weekend down in southern Utah. We've had a few storms in our mountains. They'll be falling apart later tonight, especially as the sun goes down, 9, 10 o'clock, quiet weather overnight. And then as we head into tomorrow, same areas, especially east of I-15, south of I-70. That's where all our national parks are. Chance for those pop-up thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. So just hike in the morning and keep your eyes to the sky. If you see a big cloud bubbling up, you want to get off that trail. Highs tomorrow, it's still going to be very warm. About 10 degrees above average in northern Utah. We'll see lots of 80s. Central Utah, where we'll have some cloud cover, a little bit more moisture, 70s for highs. And for southern Utah, well into the 80s down in St. George. So St. George, we're going to be in the upper 80s over the weekend. Isolated storms, those storm chances about 20% through Monday. And then next week, drier air down in southern Utah, and we'll keep those temperatures in the 90s. So pretty toasty down south and getting a little gusty. And those storm chances, again, going away by Tuesday. Salt Lake, we're going to be in the mid-80s this weekend. And I think Sunday is going to be our warmest day. Chance will be in the upper 80s, maybe the hottest day of the year so far, well above average. So please stay away from rivers, streams, and creeks. I mean, we drove up Big Cottonwood Canyon and the water is just gushing right now. It's dangerous. It's very cold. Mid-80s on Monday, and then our storm chances begin to go up beginning on Tuesday. Pretty decent chance as some moisture moves into northern and portions of western Utah Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and our temperatures will drop a few degrees into the upper 70s and low 80s. So not a bad looking weekend, Brian. Again, Solitude. That I'm not sure if I'm going to come up. I got some plans with, the family this weekend. But Brian, this could be your last run of the season, either tomorrow or on Sunday. What are you thinking?
I might have to try that, Chase. So you and I've gotten to know you pretty well over the last few years. We have gone skiing together.
Yes.
You snowboard, I ski. We've been out on the slopes a number of times. You are a great snowboarder. But tell me what happened at the end of 4 o'clock, because right now there's a picture on the screen of you laying on your back. What happened, Mr. Meteorologist?
Okay, so that doesn't happen often. I'm going to tell you what happened. First of all, I need to wax my board. Second, they have a nice little groomer, which we're going down the groomer. I'm also doing the weather. I'm doing 10 things at once. Catch me a little bit of a break, please. Thank you. But you can see, Randy, can we pan over to these big ice chunks just a little bit? I'll walk on over. And you can see that these were right next to it. So I went over into these big slush balls, if you will. And you catch an edge. You're not really moving very fast. That's what happened, I promise you. But you know what? It happens to the best of us. And you're a good skier too, Schnee.
Well, that's really nice of you, Chase. You've witnessed a pretty good spill or two from me, I think, over the year. I don't know. That might be the first time I've seen you ever go down on your board. I saw that big one. I mean, that might be the first time I've ever seen you go down.
It happens. You know what? I take it easier now that we're well into our 30s just a bit. I don't want to get injured, but so I don't take the risks that I used to.
Chase, I will give you the benefit of the doubt. You were doing a million things at once. Your forecast looked excellent. You made it top to bottom in one piece.
Oh, thank you.
And then you said a few words to, Jamie McGriff about the conditions, and then it all went south from there.
You know what? That's the thing. It's karma, right? You start poking the bear a little bit.
Yep.
We really want to get Jamie up here on the slopes, and then right when you say that, boom, you fall. So it's what happens. It's okay though.
Well, thanks for being up there, sacrificing your Friday afternoon for all of us to go and take a nice run there. And it looks like it's just a wonderful lead into our weekend. And you don't look like you went down at all. So thanks for being a good sport about it.
Hey, thanks, Brian.
All right, as we head into the weekend, remember to download our 2 News weather app to know about changes in your neighborhood. Get updated forecasts and live radar right to your phone. Chase, we appreciate the humility. I really do. By the way, you are an excellent snowboarder. I meant that. All right, it's Friday. Let's talk about the rumor mill. Will it be Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, both or neither to end up in Utah in the coming years? Yesterday, the governor was asked about his involvement, his conversations, and flat out what he sees possible for the Beehive State.
What do I think about it? I'm incredibly excited. It's something that many of us, as a self-described sports fan myself, feel very strongly about getting these opportunities here. I think it's good for just the fabric of our communities. I think it's good for the economy of our communities, and I just think it's good for the soul. Baseball is good for the soul. Hockey's fun. I think I think these are wonderful opportunities, and I'm grateful that we have people like the Smiths and like the Millers who are pursuing these opportunities. I couldn't think of better ambassadors for our state than Ashley and Ryan Smith, than Gail Miller and her family, and very excited. We have had some conversations in the over the past couple years with both of those groups of ownership about what they're hopeful for and what they're looking towards. Those are high-level discussions. I haven't been involved in any of the negotiations for those teams, and so I certainly can't speak to that. But what I can say is that just being in the mix is incredible. I think it speaks to the growth that we've had and the success that we've had as a state, and the way that the rest of the nation views us now versus maybe the way they viewed us 20 years ago. That has definitely changed. We are not a smaller state anymore. We are firmly in that middle tier of states, and from an economic perspective, from just a public relations perspective, Utah has seen much differently than it has been in the past, and that's good news for us. I do think that both of those opportunities, I don't think it's just PR. I don't think it's just kind of a wish. I think there's actual substance behind both of those, and so we'll see. It doesn't mean they'll happen. It's possible that neither of them happen, but I would say it's more likely than not that we get at least one, if not both of those, over the course of the next few years.
So this just so happens to come about a day or so after I spoke with CBS broadcaster Jim Nantz. We talked about his time in Utah, but I also asked him about the possibility of more of these professional franchises being brought to the state. Would it make sense for Major League Baseball, the NHL, or both?
I think on both fronts, the city would do really well. I mean, just look at the way the city has embraced the Jazz. I was around in the old Salt Palace days, and I mean, Utah is much bigger. There's a much bigger corporate presence there, which you need when you're going to have a professional sports team. Back in the days when I worked at Jazz, we had 30 of the 41 home games at the Salt Palace, and 11 of the home games were moved to Thomas and Mack, the basketball arena in Las Vegas, and we beamed all those games back to the Salt Lake City market. But things have changed, and all you have to do is say, okay, well, what have they shown us? What is the market shown us? And the market has shown everyone that the Jazz and the Jazz placement in the Utah sports landscape is massive.
Well, speaking of our conversation with Mr. Jim Nantz, you can find it all on our YouTube page right now. So this weekend, you'll see him, you'll hear him right here on KUTV2 News for the final 2 rounds of the PGA Championship.
This place is stunning. It is so beautiful. It went through a recent renovation. And when you tune in this weekend, you're just not going to believe what it looks like. I know people are saying, don't get carried away, Jim. It's just a golf course. But it's a masterpiece. And, we have all these young hotshots that are going to be gunning for this major title, from Jon Rahm to Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. Hopefully he's got an injury with his left wrist. Hopefully that will be okay. Xander Schauffele, and everybody's here. 99 of the top 100 are here, and this is the thing that really gets the juices going. Major championship golf for me, and big Sunday afternoon football games on the NFL. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Well, it's funny that Jim mentions that. We talk all about that and much more in our full conversation. You can find on our YouTube channel right now. We talk about the state of Utah, the upcoming NFL season right here on CBS, even what would it look like for the Winter Olympics to come back to Salt Lake City, to this market. It is all on our YouTube channel right now. Give it a watch and let me know what you think. A reminder, you can find KUTV2 News Live on your phone, tablet, computer. You can stream our newscasts on the KUTV mobile app, Stir, News On, as well as YouTube. They're all free to download in the Apple App Store or Google Play. Thanks for watching 2 News Live. Hope you joined us all week long here on 2 News Live. We are here Monday through Friday. We get things going at 5:30. We wrap things up before 6. We try to take a little bit more in-depth approach to some of the conversations that are surrounding the news that impact you and your family. Have a great rest of your Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. We will be back better than ever on Monday.